What's up, y'all? It's your boy Trippz, man. As you see, my place is in a little bit of disarray, and that's okay because we are actually in the process of packing everything up and getting out of here. Was over here, like the space over here, as crazy as it look right now, that is where I made magic for 5 years. But the magic is not tied to this place; it's tied to me. So as I get ready to get into a new environment and do new things, I need to be ready for that and all of what that entails. And that's just an optimistic outlook on things and being ready for the blessings that are coming my way. I need to put these shots up in order to score. So we're gonna run the score up in the next year or so. So stay tuned for all that.
What's happening? It's the Captain. I go by CapnTrippz. I'm a variety content creator on Twitch as well as here on YouTube. Over on Twitch, I play story mode games, especially games that have a good story. I usually kind of try to balance between that and my monthly news recap streams as well as our book club that we do twice a year. Over here on YouTube, not only do I post gameplay and pop culture footage, I also do a little bit of lifestyle vlogging as well. And so you're getting the first half of my 2025 vlog, which is coming on the heels of what was a tough but triumphant 2024. So we started this year off, honestly, trying to burn a little bit of that negative energy from last year off. So I literally rung in the new year with a white candle for reasons that I won't explain right now. And then from there, I was really just trying to focus on preparing myself for the beginning of a new journey. You know, not only the beginning of a new job, but a new direction, a new invigoration within myself, and being able to, how did I put that? Being able to have great discernment with which I put my time, energy, and efforts into in 2025. Not that I didn't have it in previous years, but like I feel like every year is an opportunity for you to retool what passes the sniff test, for lack of a better word. And I feel like I went into 2025 with that directive.
Well, for making a souffle, if you open the oven, it's gonna collapse, right? So I was told, because it was something I really wanted, and I was told to plant a seed and nurture that seed.
Shout out to my friend Breathe with K. She had her hand in putting on this event with others in the wellness space here in Atlanta, where we got outside. We did some mindfulness, some body movement, and we literally planted a seed for what we wanted to grow in 2025.
And don't be afraid to move.
I think it's important to get everything all on the same page. Your mind, your body, your spirit, in order to at least orient yourself and go in the right direction. So on one hand, you'll see the kid do, a vision board. On the other hand, you may see the kid just try to get out and try to actually exist in these spaces and exist with these things in my mind, because they are a part of how I'm thinking and how I'm coming in 2025.
Bring your hands up, shake them out. Wait, this is your phone.
I was over at the post office at the beginning of the year, so I wanted to, finish my time there on good terms with the people that I had gotten close to. Even though their job was rough and tough for me, I still had people who were in my corner rooting for me. Not only the people who trained me, the people that I shadow, but the people that I worked alongside with every day. So I kind of want to give a shout out to my boy Greg, Diamond, Audrey. I'm already forget. It's been 6 months, and I'm already starting. Some of the memory is starting to fade already. But everybody that kept my spirits up while I was over at the post office, I really do appreciate. Let me just say that first and foremost. Even after I turned my 2 weeks notice in, to which they were like, well, why would you want to leave this job? And I'm like, do y'all know that y'all verbally and mentally abused me almost every day since I've been here? on top of it being a taxing job physically and on your time as well during the holidays. Come on now. So even within those last 2 weeks, I really wanted to give it a good old college try to finish it out. But then we had a blizzard, right? And I had to make a decision within myself where it's like, do I want to risk my life to go to and work this job? Because not only would I be driving to the job, I would be driving at the job. You know, it's a postman, you know, at the end of the day. Am I willing to do that and then possibly get stuck at work or during work somewhere and have to figure out what to do and where to go from there? And I've been in a situation before while I was there, and I didn't feel like the people who were there were well equipped to help me out of that problem. So I made the executive decision to not go when it, you know, snowed here in Atlanta. And it wasn't just the snow. Even though it was only a foot of snow, which people are like, oh, y'all should be able to navigate with that. It's not necessarily that. It's the fact that Atlanta's so wide and spread out that when they do ice things, it's mainly just the main roads. Like the highway probably would have gotten salted, but would it have gotten salted all the way up to where I was working? I don't know. So I'm going to risk myself to get to work, then be at work with people mentally, you know, abusing me at times. Am I going to have food to eat? Then get on the road. Am I going to be safe on the road the entire route? Are those roads going to be salted? Had to make a decision, so I decided to stay home at least that Friday. And then halfway through the day, I got a text that, hey, y'all don't have to come in. I made that decision myself. So I wasn't even mad at that. But okay, cool. And then the next day, the issue wasn't the foot of snow from the day before. It was the fact that the sun probably melted a good bit of that snow. And then that froze. And then there was probably snow on top of that. So by day 2, it's not just a snow situation. It's a snow and ice situation. And so I stayed home on Saturday. And then Saturday, they were like, yeah, y'all got to come in Sunday. So I'm like, all right, but I got to come in on Sunday. But if I'm going to go anywhere, if I'm going to risk my life to go anywhere, it's going to be somewhere that I know I'm being, you know, I'm safe there. I'm being taken care of there, and I don't have to worry about much. So I didn't go to work. I went downtown. I went into the city. And that Sunday, I also made the executive decision that instead of going to work that day, I actually was going to go to the High Museum here in Atlanta, where Alicia Keys and Swiss Beats' personal art collection was on display during what they call the Giants exhibit. You know, I had to show up looking for something on the floor that don't exist. But no, the exhibit was great. The art was just so expansive, so elaborate, so black, and different things. I really enjoy going to the High Museum. This is not the only time y'all gonna see me at the High in this vlog, so stay tuned. Eventually, I did have to finish up the last few days at the post office, and it went just about like this picture. This was a 80-degree day, and there was somehow still snow on the ground. I don't know how that worked, but I think that kind of just goes to the persistence of some things. And this job is one thing that I did not want to persist in. So as of that Wednesday, end of January, I was out. Locking in with this new job meant getting a new routine. So as you see here, I was grateful to go into the office. Shout out to Rosa for this hat. And I was really happy to be a part of a new team that seemed a lot more functional than teams in the past. So it was on me to create the routines for me to be successful. And you know, that includes getting physical, for me at least. I participated in this workout routine called Benchuary, which involved me doing bench press every day during March. I did it during March, not February. But by the end of the month, I was tossing up iron, and I felt really good about myself. And outside of that, just going to the gym consistently, getting that routine has made me feel a lot better every day. Shout out to that Nessa, who is nearby, for inviting me out to a night at Fernbank Museum. There was a 90s party, and we got an opportunity to have a couple drinks in the museum. And honestly, people were getting loose, as you see here. It was a good night overall. Shout out to Nessa. That's my dog, man. We also toured the museum. It was a great night out. We got to see the exhibits that were there at Fernbank, and it was a good night overall. Another thing that I really wanted to try to focus on in 2025 was my relationship with my faith. If you know me, if you've been around any of the streams or me at all, I am a self-proclaimed hippie. Whatever you can think that means, probably, right? But at the same time, I would also say that I am a spiritual person. And again, wherever you want to take that probably is accurate. But one thing I don't think I had in my repertoire was how to seek a better relationship with God outside of the context of the church. And at the same time, having a cynicism and past experiences that kind of made me be like, about the institution of church. And so, like, where to start with that? And for me, it was actually reading and having a relationship with the Bible. I started with the New Testament. I felt like that was more my speed. That was for me to understanding. It helped me understand a lot of the language and the nuances of Christianity that I don't think I had gotten to explore even when I did have a church home. I won't say that I'd never been to church. I'll say when I grew up, we went to church for Easter and special occasions. So in 2025, I wanted to have a close relationship with the Bible. So I got the Bible app, I'm not gonna lie to you, and started like reading through the New Testament. I'm not gonna say that I've read it every day, but I'll say out of the year so far, I've only missed a handful of days. And so it's something I want to do throughout the year to understand a lot more about, Christianity and understand a lot more about, God and his teachings through Christ. And honestly, my experience thus far is like, I've known a lot about, the life of Jesus, but not so much what came after. And so now I'm into like Acts, and I'm into the things that have gone on outside of Jesus. And I guess my biggest question with religion, period, is like, who is to say that the time of miracles has ended? That's been one of my biggest hangups when again around the organization of the church, because I feel like we talk up to a certain point and then stop seeing the things around us as trials and tribulations that would not be biblical if someone were recording them and 2,000 years later somebody else was reading them. And so the cynic in me has also learned and understood the way that religion can be used for reasons. And so outside of religion, how do I get closer within my relationship with God? And it starts here with the Bible, but it's not going to end there. Right now I'm reading the New Testament. I do want to read the Quran, and I do want to read the Old Testament, as well as any other religious texts that, I feel like ring true to, what I've learned so far. I'm a student, and I feel like I pick up things along the way that help me tremendously in life. And whatever your relationship with your faith may be, I encourage you to explore that, especially in these times where there's a lot of turbulence going on in the outside world. So turn inward and figure out what you can figure out with your guiding light, and then go from there. Because I know a lot of people are looking for a direction, and I feel like that comes within you. But that's me, though. So my mom called me up one day and suggested that we do medieval times. And though I've lived here for almost 20 years now, I never once thought of going to medieval times. So it was a unique experience for us as a family to go there and just get some entertainment as we ate. It was really interesting and fun, even for me as a grown-ass man. You get dinner, you get a show, You get good times with your people that you came with, and obviously it's a tourist attraction, so you can plus up your experience at any point in time and pay more money for like a photo or a souvenir drink or anything like that. But I think memories best made are the ones that you experience firsthand. That's why when I'm out and about at something, I really try to put my phone down as much as possible. Yes, I do want to record this moment and have fun with it and relive it back whenever I get an opportunity, but at the barest minimum, let me get the memory now. I'll have that to look back on, plus the pictures and the videos that you take. I don't know if it's me having an opportunity to think about who I am or getting back into therapy, but I've come to realize that I'm much more of an acts of service person if I love you. So that includes cooking for my family. I went back home to my familial house to help celebrate my late grandmother's birthday with my mom and my sister, and had an opportunity to cook for them. Just something light. You see the chicken cutlets here, and the whole meal. We had some chickpea pasta and made some chicken parmesan with the chicken that we made. So it was really good. I really like how the chicken came out really evenly breaded, gave you that crunch, but also was, not too breaded. One of the lessons that I think I keep downloading is the fact that when it comes down to family and loved ones, I just want to be open to reaching out to people and meeting them where they're at. I feel like that's half the problem that I've had with my interpersonal relationships, staying open. And I think that that's something that I'm going to try to put a little bit more intention on these days. It was also important for me to be open to opportunities for me to relax and enjoy myself, lay down my burdens. So, I was out in the streets, went to an Atlanta United game at the beginning of the season when they were winning. This is a side that is very important to them to be able to tap into the culture around them in Atlanta. So a lot of hip hop stars go. This is Zaytoven slamming the golden spike at the beginning of the game. And the atmosphere is just very electric. I've enjoyed being a fan since the inception of the team. This is the only team in America that I can say is my team, for good or bad, We as a people should talk more about the guilt, I guess, that comes with once you kind of made it out of quote unquote the struggle, you being able to actually enjoy yourself and feeling like you don't have to be productive all the time. Because that definitely was a thing for me. Even things like this free concert with Dawn Richard and her writing partner Spencer Zahn, which was a really nice night out. I ended up winning these tickets through my old college radio station and got an opportunity to go and just gain a little bit more appreciation for an artist who had been through so much already and found a way to define herself or redefine herself. And then it would be weeks later that I would see her stand tall against crowds of people who were being ignorant toward her. And I just really want to commend Shouty. Like, she really held it down, both, during the show and from what I saw as a part of that trial. To that effect, I figured that I would take a step out in the direction of something I want. There are a lot of resources around us, one of which I'm trying to lean on more this year is the Atlanta Writers Club that will give you access or connect you to access to writers, clubs, committees, symposiums, opportunities for you to develop your craft. I've also tried to become a more vocal supporter of a local director that I'm a fan of, Nina Lee. She's got great work out there. And it was at this cool ass museum in town that I'd never been to. So I considered that night a double win for me.
Hey, what's happening? It's your boy Trippz, man. I'm out today on this Saturday at the Cobb County Civic Center. I'm out here for I think it's like a book sale of like the library books or whatnot. So I've been invited out here by one of the homies. Shout out to Chrome. So I'm gonna come out here and see what they have.
Now, this was a cool look. Like, I never really thought about libraries needing to get rid of their books and actually being able to raise money by selling their books to people. But this was Cobb County's library book sale. Shout out again to King Chrome, one of the real readers I know that invited me out here. They had all kind of different books, fiction, nonfiction, kids books, DVDs. They even had some CDs. But when I went and took a closer look, I really saw, there's some quality pieces. I actually picked up, I want to say about 4 or 5 books that are still in my to be read list because, yeah, it just be like that sometimes. I know y'all looking like, what the hell this man got going on? But this is this year's fruit redeemed for my birthday stream. Every year, in order to celebrate my birthday, I definitely do a long extended stream with my community. And this year, as soon as I saw the opportunity to earn money to go to Dreamcon, I figured I would take it up a notch and do whatever I could in order to get there, which is why you have me busting down this papaya like it ain't no thing. And I'm a little bit embarrassed by the sounds and the fury of my eating, but also it tracks. I think we're done. This year, a major theme for me is giving back in some way, shape, or form. So I had a group of friends join me in volunteering our time with this organization called Trees Atlanta. And we went to a place called Fraser Forest where we helped weed and get rid of invasive species that were kind of choking out the ability for local plant life to thrive. And, I think when people think of Atlanta, oftentimes they think about the fact that, we are a party city, we are a turn up city, but we are also a city that is in the middle of a forest. So nature's all around us, and I wanted to give back, and I feel like this was the perfect mix for me because I love nature. Shout out to my people, them Greg, Olu, Durante, and Luna and Lil Luna. We also had a great dinner and karaoke, even though karaoke didn't go off like it was supposed to, but I'm super appreciative of everybody who came to hang out during my birthday. And then I found myself back at the High for an exhibit from Ryoji Ikeda called the Dataverse. Really interesting exhibit that took a lot of points of data and turned them into art. And I never really thought about data as art until I actually saw all of this conceptualized. It was a lot going on, but this whole room was packed full of people who were just like enchanted by these visualizations. Yeah, I do like those. I like art type girls. But one of the best parts of living in Atlanta is the second Sunday of every month. You can get into the High Museum for free. And it's not just big exhibits like this one. There are, a lot of smaller collections that are shared within the museum. And then it's just a nice opportunity to get out the house and do something that you may not do as often as you may like to. I enjoyed my day, but I was also focused on how to move and enjoy Dreamcon on the same budget. I made it happen though. third year at Dreamcon. This was the first year in Houston, so I got an opportunity to get picked up by my aunt. Really, shout out to my aunt and my uncle, man. It's been a while since I got an opportunity to see them and hang out with them and their kids. The kids have grown up at this point, so now my little cousin ain't my little cousin no more. He's grown, man. So new year, new convention center, new convention rules. So not only was it interesting trying to navigate the Houston Convention Center, but I was doing this without having the opportunity to RSVP for most of the events that I would usually go to for Dreamcon. But at the same time, that kind of freed me up to do things I had never really done before. One of the illest events I went to this year was actually for like the theater kids and Disney kids, people who knew musicals, and it was an opportunity for them to get their shit off. And look at them, it's just so much passion in the room, and I'm just like, hey, I'm on the outside looking in, but I'm really enjoying the vibe. This is really fun. I'll probably go to it again next year, to be honest with you. Shout out to them having black wrestlers, but also having like a workshop to show people how to take bumps and things of that nature. But I spent a lot of time on the floor with the artist alley and seeing what they had going on there. And it was not your usual artist alley. I would have to say this had to have been going on without anyone having knowledge of it, because it is hella insurance that you would need to even just have some shit like this going on in public, because they really swinging. I don't think Mark and them knew this was going on. Being in Houston this year, I feel like they came with a little bit of a different swagger than they had in Austin. Just bigger city, bigger area, and just a lot of cross section with more of the public. But I love seeing, this tuner car with the elbows poking out. Loved it so much that, your boy had to take a picture with it. This year, I invited my boy Durante to come out to Dreamcon, and he had a really good time as well, man. Just, it's really good to see people have the space to be their nerdy selves and to really indulge in some of the things that these artists make, because they have a really great eye to just create some things that you wouldn't even think to create sometimes. But I'm going to show up for the homies when I can. Shout out to Geechee and the Geechee B, as always. Then it was my homie Lila Bobina hosting a panel about how to create a business from content creation. First of all, I just want to give my dog a shout out. She really was focused on getting all this together, like in the weeks before, just really getting prepared. And I loved it. And she packed that thing out. I wish I would have scanned the room, but it was almost standing room only, and you love to see it from someone who works so hard. So shout out to my dog. She's in school, she streams, she creates things, and at the same time, she got enough time to teach people who are new to this how this goes. Well, I guess I did scan the room, so that's that. Also, shout out to the experts on the panel, Miss White, Dalo, Anka, and of course, Leela really did their thing. Also, the food in Houston, had to throw it down for these tacos. Really just enjoyed myself and my time out that weekend. Getting to see the art installations in the city. Stepping out at night for the club by myself, one-man army, and then ending up at Voodoo Donut that night. I had to satisfy that sweet tooth. And I ain't even eat all those donuts in one fell swoop. But it wasn't just the night. It was the events during the day with the Black Guild. Shout out to Alexis. Shout out to, again, more art around Houston. And, of course, more food. I can't even front to you like it was all my food. But it looked good, don't it? Shout out to that Sir Davis had us right at the Blurred Rave. And Lila Bobina, who got us in. But also my dog, not just any Nessa, that Nessa. It's something about a move that gets you all contemplative, right? I spent 5 years in this spot. I survived a pandemic in this spot. I started my content career here, but, with last year and some losses that I've taken recently, sometimes it's hard to see the forest for all the trees. So, even in breaking everything down and, putting everything back up, I got an opportunity to just like remember who I am. Remember that I am the same type of person who will go to a Dreamcon, but still be out in Atlanta streets when the occasion calls for it. The same person who will go home for a funeral, come back to make sure your new crib is good, and then off to a little baby concert. I am him. I am a nerd. I am a brother. I am a son. I am a lover. But I also am a fighter and a fierce protector of those who have emboldened me to go out and reach for my dreams. I am the same guy who will go from tugging at the roots of invasive plants to dancing under a disco ball and ordering drinks in a fancy martini glass. I am him. I just be forgetting, man. Forgetting who I am, forgetting what I've done. During this move, I found my diplomas and really just took a moment to sit and look at them like, wow, I really did this. I did a lot of dope shit that I forgot. And, life will have you forget sometimes. People benefit from you forgetting who you are at times. And so, one thing I'm taking into the back half of 2025 is remembering who I am. Yes, I'm the same guy who eats mangoes and pineapples and does Digimon models, but I'm also the same guy who talks about the news and current events and making sure people are aware about what's going on around them. So, yeah, the old days may be over. Matter of fact, the 403 days may be over, but new beginnings never hurt anyone. So, as we step into this next phase, I'm going to be doing a whole lot more, not only in the streams, but on YouTube, on Instagram, on social media. We're growing this thing, man, because I realized I contain multitudes, and I'm doing myself a disservice of playing small ball by thinking, oh, I don't have this, I can't have that, I haven't done this. Man, let's just fucking get it. If you made it this far, thank you so much. My name is CapnTrippz. You can find me across all socials. I am that funny guy, that news guy, that gamer guy. I'm a lot, ain't I?